Hi everyone, Carol Van Landingham with eXp Realty. Today I wanted to chat with Kevin Kauffman, who is part of the group 4610, and kind of find out a little bit about his real estate journey, where he's been and where he is now and how he got there. So welcome, Kevin. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. So just tell us a little bit about your background. I know you've been in real estate for a number of years, but just where did you start and kind of the journey as to where you are now?
Yeah. I got licensed in the middle of 2007. So it was about May of '07. And in Arizona, that was, some would have described that as poor timing. My business partner, Fred, likes to joke that I was the person that kept the real estate school alive and going that year. I was the valedictorian as well as the last of my class.
Okay.
So I got licensed in '07. My third transaction ever was a short sale. And a lot of people now in real estate, because of how much the industry turns over, don't even remember that. But
Right.
my third transaction was a short sale, and probably the next 1,000 or so were pretty much short sales.
Okay.
And so it's kind of based on that. I have a unique story in the sense that, again, third transaction is a short sale. I have a business partner who we officially started working together in February of '08. So just over,
Okay.
been over 14 years now. I guess going on 15. Gosh, 15 before I can even think about it. Not far away from that. And our business has grown and changed a lot. We spent the first 11 years of my career at Keller Williams Realty and really loved 9 of those 11 years. Had a great time, learned a lot.
Okay.
And then our business changed a lot as the market changed. We obviously had to change. So, as short sales were no longer predominant, they became a smaller and smaller piece of our business. And we had to become more of, like, I always like to say, I learned to be a real estate agent in like
Mm,
2013.
okay.
So, and the reason I say that is because I would take all my short sale listings over the phone. I literally took hundreds
Huh.
of listings over the phone and never
Okay.
going to somebody's house. What really wasn't until the end of 2012 that I even offered to ever go to somebody's house for a
Wow.
listing appointment.
That's very different.
And
Wow.
and then I had to learn how, and then as I honestly had to cultivate sales skills. I had to learn how to be a realtor. Even though I'd taken hundreds, if not 1,000 or so listings to that point. And
So what did you
we
do
had some.
during that time to like transition into getting some of those sales skills? Because that's different going from the phone to actually going to in person and having in-person conversations. So what did you do
I'm
during that time?
I've always had a coach, first of all. So it's
Okay.
always nice to have someone holding up a mirror and reminding you of things. Um, I also always I often seek mentors, advisors, training.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm first one to go to a class. And when I realized that I was the problem, that was my skill set was the problem, I mean, I was ferocious about getting good at it, at
Mm-hmm.
becoming a good listing agent.
Let's go.
And
Okay.
what that looked like, my business coach's wife was a great listing agent herself back in the day,
Okay.
and run a high level real estate team, and was a great coach and trainer. So I had coaching calls with her specifically on listing scripts, like listing consult scripts. I learned how to qualify list. I started learning scripts. I literally set up a class for a friend of mine from Philadelphia who's an amazing listing agent.
Hmm.
Uh, I put on an entire class and sold tickets to it just so I could have him come out and teach to me. So
Wow.
I
That's a
risked a
great
couple.
idea.
Yeah, I risked a few $1,000s. It was, I think, his fee to speak was like $3,000 plus travel, and so I fronted it and then sold tickets to other people in my market so that way I could make my money back. And I
Yep.
did, but I literally did it just so I could have Matt come and teach me in person.
That's a great
Um,
idea.
and I started calling my friends that I thought were better listing agents than me. And I just said,
Okay.
"Hey, tell me, what are you doing in this situation? What do you say in this situation?" And I would just
Okay.
kind of pull out from everybody, like, what were their best practices.
Right.
And
Right.
I started putting those into place. And eventually I went from one of my like friends, kind of mentors here early on in the business, Russell Shaw. He would always say that, the thing is, if the way you become a really good listing agent is first you start as a really sucky one, and then you
Mhm.
you don't suck so bad. And then you're kind of just, you don't suck anymore, but you're not good.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
then you're sort of getting good. And then one day you get good. And I lived
Huh.
that from the end of 2012 into probably the first half of 2013 before I really, maybe even the third or fourth quarter of 2013, before I really started to get good.
Huh.
And then I was like, yeah, let's do this. I'll compete against any other agent in town.
That's
I
awesome.
was all about it.
I love it. So I've heard you say that you started out doing short sales and then you had to learn new skills. So what you did to learn new skills is you hired a coach and you did a lot of scripting, and you actually were very creative in getting coaching, bringing people out, paying for it, and then selling tickets to that to be able to learn a lot of what you did to become a great listing agent. That's great. So that probably takes us to 2013-ish. Tell me a little bit about Group 4610 and how you and your partner Fred kind of do that and how that has expanded over time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really happened because we were both doing short sales and
Okay.
decided to help each other out. Really sort of we weren't trying to be business partners. We just were trying to support each other because doing short sales are hard.
Right.
And like hard, like makes you want to ram your head through the wall some days, right?
Yeah.
So dealing with bank employees and whatnot. So as the market shifted and we had to shift our skills, our business shifted, and we went from that we had to learn how to hire people. We had to learn how to lead people. We had to learn how to adjust. We had to then, as I remember at the end of 2012, effectively all of the salespeople that were in our business at that time kind of walked out they all left like within a 40-day period
Okay.
of each other. One person left, she went to commercial real estate, and the other three got up and followed what we called our lead buyer's agent, followed him out the door and went to another brokerage, and they did their own thing. And it was truthfully, it was our fault. It's because we were poor leaders and just didn't know how to coach and guide them better.
Right.
And so that happened. So we got back into the trenches. That was again, same time I'm like learning real estate skills. And then we start to build it back out, and we were like finally got good and finally got some breathing room. Like, okay, I got this figured out on the sales side. But the part of the business I had already figured out that I loved is like the business side of it. I didn't love going to people's houses. I didn't love taking listings.
Okay.
I did it because it pays well.
Right.
And I knew how to do it. And it was the key to getting me to where I wanted to go. And so as we started doing that, we hired a salaried agent and then another salaried agent. And we kind of ran that model with like two salaried agents who were mostly buyers agents, but because we had them on salary, we also had them doing other tasks and learning other sides of the business.
Right.
And if you fast forward to like July of 2014, I sat down with my business partner at the time, another business partner. I owned Keller Williams franchise at the time.
Okay.
He ran a bigger team than I had and more successful, sold a lot more real estate. I said, I want you to sell me your model. He said, what do you mean? I said, I want you to tell me why you run things the way you run them and how they do it and why. And he did. And I was intrigued. And so that kind of sent me on my next journey of learning of like, okay, who are the real estate teams that have a model that I would like to have? Like, who would I like to trade places with if I could?
Okay.
And I'm going to go learn from them and find the commonalities. And then I remember about the very next month, Ben Kinney called me and said, hey, he knew we were like kind of trying to reinvent ourselves after sort of, being on top of the world and then getting kicked in the teeth. He said, why don't you come up here and spend a few days with me? And so Fred and I flew to Bellingham. It's August of 14, and spent like 3 or 4 days with him and just kind of shadowed different departments in his business. And then we'd go to lunch and we'd go to dinner, and he'd kind of, weave in between the conversations, like why he did certain things and teach us this and teach us that. And we came home and went, all right, we got it. We're very clear on what our model is now. We completely changed our business model. And simultaneously, we had run into somebody in Colorado. And it doesn't really matter how we got into this conversation, but we found ourselves in a conversation one day because we were trying to introduce other people to each other, where one of them said, I just wish you guys sold real estate here. It'd make this easier. And then the other guy who eventually became our partner said, if you did, I'd want to talk to you guys about that. Like I want to get into the retail side of real estate. I've never sold houses before
Yeah.
to buyers and sellers. Like, would you guys want to partner on that? And that was kind of like ding, ding, ding. So at
Yeah.
this time as we're reinventing ourselves at home in Phoenix, we were also, we also expanded to Denver on September 1st, 2014.
Okay.
And
So were you guys still with Keller Williams at that time?
yeah, still with
Okay.
KW at that time. And I'll fast forward a little bit. Like we really started, so we started expanding our team rapidly, not just in Phoenix and not just in Denver, but we opened a location in Nashville, Tennessee, San Luis
Wow.
Obispo, California, and some other places.
Yeah.
And we were really kind of going down that expansion path. Eventually, we kind of got tired of it. But we had made the decision in April of 2017 to leave KW. We didn't
Okay.
know where we were going to go. We just knew we were leaving. And it took us
Okay.
a long time to find that out. And
Huh.
in the process, we thought we were going to ultimately end up starting an independent brokerage.
Yep.
And we didn't want to do that, but we felt like it was our only choice at the time. And so we started closing down locations that were either not profitable or they were profitable, but they were not worth the headache of
Okay.
that brought along with it. And then ultimately we decided, well, we're not going to open an independent brokerage. Let's stay put for a minute, figure out what we really want to do. And then, I don't know, a couple months later, we decided to finally take a look at eXp Realty. And within a month, we were over at eXp Realty. We'd moved our business and our agents over to eXp Realty. And that would have been 4.5 years ago. It was June of 2018.
Okay. So what was it that you saw in EXP that made you go, okay, that's the right fit? Because there's so many different brokerages out there and companies that have different models. So what was it that attracted you guys to EXP?
I think the main things to distill it down was it, part of our criteria that we had set up prior to like even doing our brokerage search was we needed a place where we could be autonomous. So like you would leave me alone and I could plug into something when I wanted to. So it met that criteria. It also met the criteria of one brokerage per state, which was important to us when we were selling real estate in multiple cities.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, multiple brokerages within the same state for reasons I won't get into outside. There's just legal and marketing reasons that we're constrained to when you're, as real estate professionals. So that makes life easier. So, but the thing really about EXP was we had a relationship with somebody there, Curtis Johnson, who is Fred's sponsor, was there. He'd moved over 5-6 months earlier. He was very clearly loving it, having a positive experience. And what we saw in the model at EXP was it felt very entrepreneurial. It felt like it rewarded productivity. It rewarded people being productive, people growing, and people helping other people. Like it rewarded
those. What do you mean? Can you kind of describe that? Like I know maybe the Icon program and just
exactly the Icon agent program is a perfect example, which is, hey, sell a certain number of homes every year, and we're going to reward you with more stock in the company. You want to, or if you want to buy more stock in the company at a discount, sell more real estate, increase your GCI because that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
Or the revenue share plan obviously is great, but the thing that makes it tick is it doesn't work if people don't sell houses. So naturally I'm incentivized to help other people sell houses. So it kind of took all of these things that were important to us, baked it into the financial model of a brokerage. And because of what the financial model does to incentivize people bleeds over, and it just makes people who are already giving like bigger givers. It just gives them a platform to give. And that was important to us both because like we'd always taught, the part of my story I skipped over is like, we started teaching classes way early in 2008. Like I hadn't even been in real estate a year. We were teaching people how to do short sales all over the country.
Wow.
And on like we had video blogs and whatnot. So kind of giving back to the real estate community has always been something important to us. And EXP seemed to just be in a perfect alignment with my belief system.
Okay. So it's been 4 years. Kind of talk to us just a little bit about where you guys are now. I mean, I'm part of your business organization, so I know you're in multiple states. Talk about the different countries maybe, and just kind of where you are compared to when you started in 2018.
Yeah. So I mean, so much has changed since then. Like our real estate sales team has been primarily focused in Phoenix. Although we still actively sell real estate in the cities I mentioned earlier,
Okay.
Denver, San Luis Obispo, Nashville, and then of course Phoenix. Um, though Phoenix is the bigger focus from a sales perspective,
Right.
we spend a lot of our time helping our what I would call our group, our revenue share group. So
Okay.
as you mentioned, you're in that. So your sponsor is one of my dear friends, Nolly Williams,
Yep.
and I am Nolly's sponsor. So because of the way our system is set up, I'm literally incentivized for you to sell more real estate, right? Or
Right.
for you to hire more people on your team and for them to sell more real estate, or for you to recruit somebody to EXP and for them to sell more real estate. It's so we spend a lot of our time focused there as well, where we try to bring value. So we'll spend
Yep.
time, whether that be virtually, we do a lot virtually, a couple
Mhm.
times a week. We're running masterminds and just kind of discussions around how to be more productive or doing in-person events. I mean, that's really like the lion's share of what I do. I'm very
Okay.
fortunate in the sense that my sales business pretty much runs without me at this point. It's if you're familiar with the MREA book, we're as close to like a seventh level business as you can be without actually being a full blown
Wow.
seventh level business.
That's awesome.
And so that affords me the time to go spend it with other folks and pursue other parts of the business that we enjoy. And so that's what I find myself doing most of the time. Like right after this Zoom, or I've got a Zoom with somebody that's in our group in another state, and he just needs some help with his team on something and so we've got a Zoom for me to help him out because it's a problem I've faced many times in my career and
Wow.
been down that road, and I can give him some guidance.
That's awesome. So I think it's awesome that you guys made that move and that you saw that EXP was the right model for you. Um, I'm trying to actually work with a lot of new agents. I just got licensed in California and trying to bring on new agents onto my team there as well as in Colorado. So anyway, I appreciate your time today. And I just wanted to say being part of Kevin and Fred's organization and Nolly's has been amazing for me. I've been with EXP about 1.5 years, and they give back so much. They feed into the people that are in their organization and their groups. And like you just said, they're so willing to help anybody that wants to actually better their real estate business. So thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. I appreciate that, the opportunity to share with you, and love that you're doing this. And as you know, if there's anything else I can do, you know where to
Okay.
go.
I will reach out soon then. All right. Happy
Awesome.
holidays.
Good one.
Okay. Bye.